The best benefit that you have is your federal employee health insurance, and I get to say that as the outside looking in. But if you ever wondered if you have a break in service or you decide to do something else for a little bit, but you want to come back to the federal government, how do you keep and maintain your FEHB? Well, if you have, stay tuned for this FERS Federal Fact Check. Hi, I'm Micah with Plan Your Federal Retirement, and welcome to this episode in the FERS Federal Fact Check. Now, if you've noticed and you watch some of our other videos, you're going to notice some things are a little different. I normally love to stand in front of a whiteboard, and I love outlining things on a whiteboard for you guys and explaining. Unfortunately, I guess my whiteboard disagreed with that because this last week it shattered. It actually came off of the laminate that was there. Luckily, nobody was hurt, which was great. It happened while we weren't in the office, but I came in the office next day to do some videos, and all the tempered glass and everything had just shattered. So great news. We get to find a new way to deliver wonderful content since everything's on back order. So love to know your feedback and thoughts on these videos, on the production quality, what things you guys would like to see to make it more beneficial. We got some ambitious goals this year about getting phenomenal information out to more federal employees. So would love to help that and get your feedback. All right, so on to some questions. Sandra does ask a great question that came in about your FEHB, your federal employee health benefits, and a break in service. Hi, Tammy and Micah. Thanks for the information. I separated from the government at age 54 and a half with 20 and a half years of service. I'd like to come back and work for the government in the near future, maybe at 58, 59. How many additional years do I need to work so that my health benefits are covered for life? Many thanks, Sandra. Sandra, that's a phenomenal question. Sandra, sorry, I got a client on that says their name each way, so not quite sure the way you pronounce it. But I really appreciate that question that's going to come in. And there's a couple of key things that we got to be looking at when you're thinking about your FEHB, your federal employee health benefits. Is number one, there's a years in service requirement you have to meet. You have to be able to retire with the eligibility of an immediate pension to keep your FEHB in retirement. Number two, you must have your FEHB for 5 years prior to retirement. So let's go through a little timeline on how this works. Now, if we were sitting down one-on-one, as I do with many of my clients, this is the same way I would approach it. I love drawing things out, and it's not because, as you're going to see, I'm a master artist. I really specialize in stick figures, and they're just so-so at best, but I love the visual picture to make sure we can get an understanding of what we're talking about. So what you're thinking about is coming back to work, and let's say you're going to come back to work maybe in the year 2022, right? You're thinking about coming back to work for this year. You had a break in service. Let's just take the halves out. Let's say you stopped working at 54. You want to come back at 59. So let's just call that 5 years. So quick math, what is that? 2017. And 2017 is when you stop working. Now, in that period in time, you had 20 years of federal service, which is great. You were 54 years young. So at that point in time, you weren't eligible for an immediate retirement, right? We got to meet that eligibility rule for an immediate retirement. Now, if you come back to work, your 20 years, let's assume you kept that money in the system. We're also assuming that all of that time counted for your retirement. These are some things you really need to check. You're still going to have your 20 years of federal service because that time in the middle did not count from 2017 to 2022. So you're still going to have your 27 years of service, but now you're 59 years young. So let's just say for fun, you worked for one more year to 2023. Let's just say that's a full year. Now you're going to have 21 years of service, but you're going to be 60 years young. Okay, so what are the rules for retiring with the eligibility of an immediate pension? Well, number one, you have to meet your MRA, your minimum retirement age, which is about probably 57 for you, and have at least 30 years of federal service. Or you can be age 60 years young and have at least 20 years of federal service. Or you can be at least 62 and have at least 5 years of federal service. You got to meet one of those three gates. Those are the minimums. So you could be more, but those are the minimums that you have to meet. Well, if I look at your age and say 2023, you're going to retire because you came back to work for the feds. You're 60 years young and have 21 years of service. Well, that meets this requirement right here. Boom, you have it. So you got your 20 years of federal service, you're 60 years young, you're eligible for an immediate retirement. So that's one step we got to meet. What's the second step? The second step is your FEHB, your health insurance. The requirement says you have to be in FEHB for 5 years prior to retirement. Now, this is the way it works when we have a break in service. Now, if you were doing the hokey pokey with FEHB, some years you were in, some years you were out, you were going back and forth, this does not work. You need 5 consecutive years prior to retirement of being in FEHB or when first eligible. So, the way it's going to work with a break in service is they're going to look back in this period in time and say, okay, you have 1 year of service right here. Then they're going to go back to 2017 and said, hey, from 2017, when you separated back for 4 years, did you have 4 years of consecutive service? If the answer is yes, we get 4 years plus our one. That equals our 5 years, and you're able to maintain your FHB in retirement, which is fantastic. This is really complex stuff. There's a lot of little details inside of here, so you want to make sure you're talking with your HR about this. You want to make sure you're going over these rules and really understanding these benefits before you come back, and definitely after you separate from service. This has been something we've helped several clients work with over the years. If you have questions like these and want to know how it pertains to your particular situation, you can leave YouTube comments because we love those. We love hearing your feedback. Jump on our website, planyourfederalretirement.com, and you can submit questions just like Sandra did as well. Or you can schedule a one-on-one consultation. We love sitting down with federal employees, helping answer your questions to make sure you have the right information for your benefits. Till next time, happy planning.